Philly Tobin. We've just been doing bits for the Hartlepool Born and Bred 2 book, which is coming out before Christmas. You told me an amazing story there about about Lee Duffy, and I thought, you know what, that needs to be aired again. So take me back. What happened?
Well, the story was he was taxing a good lad, and a good lad. A lot of
Now the
people,
boxing and all that, and
yeah. Oh, with
Topsy Low.
Topsy Low used to come and he used to give us a running commentary on this young up and coming boxer,
Yeah.
and he was saying he's going to be the best thing that England's ever seen. And he
And
was
this is when he was 16, so he
yeah,
was like
he was
training.
16, yeah, and we knew Topsy knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, because he'd fought Alan Minter, hadn't he?
Yeah, he got beat, but he still put up a hell of a fight.
Hell of a fight when Minter was
it was top of the league, British champion,
pound for pound. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for him to say that must have been.
Oh yeah, he was ranked. He was going to be ranked, Duffy, and then he come in one night and he said he's gone to the black side. He started bouncing on the doors,
Right.
and he knew the lead because he didn't drink Duffy or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, they got him. He got a job in the Massam in Middlesbrough town centre.
So where was your place nearby?
Yeah, we got managing pages and centrefolds, they called it.
Yeah.
And Cameron's asked us to manage it.
Yeah.
And I had to walk along to see Duffy, and I said to him, "What are you doing this for?" I said, "You've really upset Topsy," which is John Law.
Yeah.
I said he had all the time in the world for you when he was going to take you to the top. I needed money, Phil.
Mm.
And I realised then.
So you could actually see his point.
Yeah. I mean, with us, none of us were. There's only one man who worked on the door because he enjoyed it, you know. And and I understood that. And he was a good kid then, and then he just went, like John said, he went all the pot. He went to the black side, as he called it.
Because you told me a minute ago you were actually in prison with Graham and all that.
Yeah, we were all in together, remand.
What year was that then?
Oh, dates. I'm no good at
Late
dates.
80s.
It will have been, yeah, because it was when Viv was up for the fighting.
Stuart Watson.
Yeah, when he was with Rob Armstrong and all the lads. And
he's not a good pal of mine.
Rob Armstrong. And anyway, they all got like Shanghai sort of thing, but he summoned Viv summoned Duffy up to the jail.
See, that's quite right, because I know they only ever met once, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So you were there?
Yeah. I was on the visit. Viv come and said, "Can you get on the visit on the Saturday morning?" I said, "Yeah." And Duffy come walking in, which he said he was coming, and he did. And he said to me, he said, "What's going on?" I said, "I don't know, kid." I said, "Just sit down and listen." And Viv had said to him, you know what I mean, back off. You know, you back off. I don't need to mention names.
Yeah.
He said, "You're out of order." And Viv had already said to him, "I won't be in here forever, and I'll come out and I'll come looking for you." And when he walked past us after the visit, Duffy had said, and he said, "He's just warned me." And I said, "Well, listen, son." I said, "Because he means it." I said, but you see, with Lee, he was a lovely kid, and then all of a sudden he turned into a right bully, and I think it was the people behind him, you know, like peer pressure, and they were, you know, do this and do that, and if you do this, and then he just went all this about him threatening Viv and all this. I didn't believe it one bit then. I don't believe it now.
Because you were in prison with Viv, and you had a fight with quite a well-known character, Fred the Head
Mills, yeah. I was walking along the landing, and Viv said to us, "Keep your eye open for us, Phil. I'm going to..." He'd stood on Viv's toes, so as it happened...
So basically he'd been going in Viv's pubs?
Yeah, and...
taking drinks and that?
Yeah, and threatening people. Anyway, Viv walked in, and you heard the bang, bang, clack, clack, and then walked out, you know. And I said, right, and I just nodded to each other, you know what I mean, and Viv went.
Because he was quite a character, that Fred the Head Mills. I mean, he had many run-ins with Paul Sykes.
Yeah.
he's mentioned, and he had a fight with Roy Shaw. He's in Ronnie Cray's book.
Yeah,
So obviously he died a couple of years back, but he was a serious figure. And
yeah, he was.
There wasn't many people who stood up to Paul Sykes in Durham prison, but he was one of them, wasn't he?
But they were all hard cases, but they all tend to bully him. And us lads who worked for a living couldn't understand why. They didn't need to. They didn't need to bully and go and taking drugs off people, taxing them. You know, it's just something we've never ever. We've always thought it's you watch your back.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch your back off your own people.
Yeah. And at that time of the prison when with Lee and that was in John McPartland, did you say?
Big John McPartland was in. My brother was in. Billy, the barber, Rob Armstrong. I had hair then, and I went to get my hair. They said he's cutting hairs in the toilet, so he needs another big figure in he. And I sat down on the chair and he put the cloth around my neck. I said, "Have you cut hair before?" He said, "No, but it gets me out the cell." You know, and I thought, well, that's enough of that. You know, took them. Yeah. But this is the type of laughs you used to have with them. You know, and Viv, I know it probably won't worry you. He was on a visit, and he got some blow on the visit, and he's put it in his mouth, and we were all just sat going up the visit. And the screw grabbed out of three of them grabbed out of him, hands around his throat and everything. And they gave it that, and they were trying to get the fingers in his mouth because he had the blow in his mouth. And he was going like a ventriloquist, you know what I mean? And he had this, because he wasn't that big, about your size, wasn't he?
Well, 5'11" apparently.
Yeah, and he had this screw in his hand. And it looked like he was a ventriloquist because he was in, "I'll bite your fucking fingers off. Give me your hand, I'll bite your fucking fingers off." And I was laughing, you know what I mean? Because it looked like that Lord Charles thing, you know, because it was waving this screw about. And anyway, he swallowed it. You know what I mean?
So come out the other end.
No, it breaks up in your stomach.
Also, there was no wrappers on it?
No, it was just.
So he was probably stoned for a few days.
Yeah, well, Viv didn't touch out like that. He didn't know.
Yeah.
And he come and he went to my brother and he said, Billy, what do I do? Billy said, "You're all right, get your head down." He said, "And when you wake up," he said, "we'll have the gear waiting for you." So he did. He slept for about 48 hours and he woke up. And Billy said, "Everybody get out of his way because he'd be starving." And he was. And we were giving, because we had everything, and then giving him honey and tins of peck and all sorts, and he woofed a lot, you know what I mean? But
so them story about the young Duffy, the young kid, was there any other times you've come into his?
Yeah, a few times with Duffy. Even my wife, she had a lodging house in South Bank, and she knows. I don't know if you've heard of Paul. I don't know if it's Paul Verrill or Paul Venice.
Yeah, I know Paul very well. I've done his book.
Yeah, well, they were
dad.
All, yeah, they were all around this lodging house, and she's even told us how hard they were. You know what I mean? And she even to this day, if you had a camera on her, she'd say to you, he couldn't have lived with Paul Veris or any of the other lads. There's a few other lads she's mentioned, and one of them was Lee Duffy's brother-in-law, living with his sister Wenger.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he was living with Wenger.
Yeah.
And she said Lee couldn't have lived with them, you know, these lads. Yeah. And there was one family, the lads were just villains, just Wilex, Chavez, whatever you want to call them. But she knows them all from like South Bank, like, because they had this lodging house, and she used to have them in, you know, they used to have them in.
So obviously you were quite close to Viv, and did he ever talk to you much about Duffy in prison, or was he?
Never.
No.
Just the ones. He didn't need to, you know. Viv wasn't a big talker. He carried on. Viv carried on, you know what I mean? And it was a lot, even with that fight with, was it Watson they called the lad, the bouncer? Yeah. It was somebody behind him, and it was somebody shouting, "Give him a face, give him a face. Let him know he's been in a fight." And because Viv, he was just like the rest of us, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You're knocked out.
I like the mate.
You sat them up. You know what I mean? You put them in their recovery. You didn't want to kill anybody. And he was like that. And his main guardian was Billy Robinson. And he was all of ours because we all looked up to him. He was one of the first. And we all like looked up to Billy, you know, and he's still a lovely man. And I mean, that phone call, he said, Phil, I hadn't a clue what was going on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, was that when I rang him?
Yeah.
So he thought it was a scam or something, didn't he?
He said he didn't know. He said, Phil, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Because he's in that much pain now.
Yeah.
With his legs and that. And his foot's twisting. And but he'd come through, you know what I mean? And it's, like I say, I'd go on holiday with them and you'd have some fun, some laughs. But some of them, we've always said it takes you 2 or 3 days to make a reputation. And it takes the rest of your life to live it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're not all nasty people, all the bouncers, and they've just done a job.
Yeah.
All of us.